we're going to show some issues that relate to short sitting posture. And one idea is to show how Brian can control his balance in this position with no functioning abdominals or trunk musculature, functioning at the C5 level. Place his hands on his lap. And how about to the side? Good, and your lap again. And back to the side. This just requires just repetition, working. And I'm going to give you a little bit of stresses here. See if you can't compensate for that. Good. So another practical way to deliver these stresses is actually have the therapist sit in front of Brian, facing him. Good. Brian also has to establish confidence in this position and just the ability to move freely, and this really carries over to assistive and transfers. How about if we kind of walk your arms back and we'll go into shoulder extension on either side. We'll start with your right one here. Okay, plant the right one down, and then work on planting the left down. This is kind of an active assistive motion that we're doing here, and we just kind of work this together. And then over time, the therapist just backs off the assistance. Okay, now let's walk back up. Lead to your left and unload your right. Lean to your right and unload your left. Okay, good. And then he goes forward till he finds that point where his elbow is stable and held there by contraction of his anterior deltoid. Great. Let's do that again. Let's start with the right. Throw your right arm back. Now left. Right. Good. Lean to the right, unload, and throw your left. Lean to the left and unload. Good. And we'll reverse that. Good. Just say unload one side and you move the other. That's good. And then once the head go far enough forward that you get that stable position. Okay. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's amazing to look at the stability that Brian has through the upper extremities. And this stability is only possible when you have nice hyperextendable elbows, about a 90-degree range of motion at the wrist to accept the weight, and to have a stable and strong glenohumeral joint, which is all possible at the C5 level. Okay, that's excellent. But one idea, it's really a high-level activity, is to be able to do a short-sitting push-up and do a transfer. So you transfer your rear end from one mat to the next mat. So you actually do 180 degrees of rotation of a sitting push-up. And this really challenges not only this whole scapulothoracic depression activity, but it really pushes the whole idea of the head-hips relationship. The head goes down, the rear end goes up, or the head goes one way, the rear end goes the other. That's all driven by the connection of the passive elements in his low back. Why don't you, Bob, if you would, just to change your position 180 degrees so you're transferring your rear end from this mat to this mat, please. And note the importance of his extended wrist to act as platforms to accept this weight, his stable elbows, and the scapulothoracic depression he gets to do that activity. The short sitting position like this is a prerequisite for transfers, for activities of daily living. You really must be mobile and stable, as well as have confidence and balance in this position, so you can free your upper extremities for various manipulation and still have a stable upper body. So we're going to show a couple activities here that really will facilitate transfers, activities of daily living, and even all kinds of mat activities. This idea about putting her between two mats like this is really a safe and practical way to exercise as well. The first idea I want to show is I want to get in front of Jacqueline. And once she has really good short sitting balance, as she has here, we can progress then to doing an activity where she elongates one arm. Now make that arm short. Now we're functionally elongating this whole limb, which means that the serratus anterior is shortening and protracting this limb forward. And that protraction has to occur through a limb that has a stable elbow. And this is a definite prerequisite for any activities that require this type of scapulothoracic depression or protraction with a sitting push-up or a transfer. Okay, let's make it push really hard. Make your arm long. Now make it short. Beautiful. Make it long. Now short. Now when we're doing this activity on her right, we're really challenging the left shoulder as well, because her left shoulder now is actually getting a stretch, and she has to remain stable over her left shoulder. Okay, we do this a couple times. A good push. Now let's switch arms. Okay, now give me a good push. Good. Now this is require her to stay stable over that right shoulder, as well as working on the scapulothoracic protraction on her left. Push. Good. Push. Now don't let me push you now. Hold. Now I'm giving her a very, very hard push. Now hold, 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 relax. Good. Let's switch arms. Good. Now push at me hard. Don't let me push you. I'm pushing as hard as I can, just about. Push, hold, hold. Beautiful. Now switch. Good. Now this is an excellent challenge for balance as well as just confidence in this position, because this position right here is definitely a component in the transfer. And a good stretch on the right shoulder. And one more, switch. Make your arm real long, now short. Good, real long, short, real long, short, and relax. Great job. Good, and back down. How about another one? The head-hips relationship is essential here, and forward, and relax. So once you master the ability of raising your rear end up like this, the next idea is to start to challenge him side to side. And again, he will capitalize on the head-hips relationship. Not only is he going to lower his head, but by rotating his head to his right, he's going to help wind up a lot of the tissue in his lower back to help translate his body to his left. All right? So why don't we try that? Let's just work on just taking your rear end and just move it about 6 inches to your left. And show me that head-hips relationship here. Good. And then why don't you bring your legs next? And the whole aspect of manipulating your legs to follow you after you moved is very, very important. That requires that he's stable on his left side. Okay. Why don't you just slow down this a little bit here? This whole aspect of moving your legs requires that he can bear weight on this left upper extremity, and fortunately has triceps that helps lock the elbow, and then be free enough and be stable enough that he can then manipulate his legs to this other extremity, using primarily his wrist extensors and elbow flexors. And again, the confidence it takes is all part of this, that he's stable in this position. So I think what I'll do now, Frank, is I'll move your legs for you so we can kind of speed things up here. And what we'll do is, which is very helpful, is for him to actually do these series of sitting push-ups around the whole perimeter of this mat. This is very good to actually build endurance as well. Good. We'll do a short one right here. Okay, and I'll take your legs from here. Okay.